Hi, and welcome to Pappy Hour, Episode 4. We're here live in Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville.
We're on the 24th floor of the
Embassy Suites.
Embassy Suites Hilton.
Downtown Nashville.
Downtown Nashville.
Yep, we're here for our youngest little cousin's 21st birthday weekend.
Yes, big 21st birthday celebration. 20 of us in our group. It is now Sunday afternoon. We're overlooking in the background Nashville. We're going to close this up a little bit because we're losing sun here fast. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Had another great day here.
Yep.
And since we are live traveling, we're going to do something that we haven't done in our regular studio. But since we are traveling, Coors Light, Sierra Nevada. Cheers. Jessica.
Yep, we've been having a few of these this trip.
We've been having a couple of sodas, as we would say. It's been we did go to the soda bar.
Yeah, we've been having a great time. This is also your first time ever in Nashville. My third time, which is
my second
crazy.
time in Nashville.
Oh, I thought
my second time. We my first visit to Nashville was with my friend Billy as we were driving across country, and we happened to be rolling through Nashville, and it was the 4th of July. And we didn't know anything to do or what to do, so we got a little cheap motel downtown. We never knew we weren't 21, we were still 18 years old. So
why were you driving across the country?
We were driving across the country, coming home from Civil War reenacting at the Battle of Gettysburg. That was 1988. But anyway, we were going through Nashville, and it was 4th of July. So we walked down to the riverfront, a short walk from here, and we saw a great fireworks show. And it was a really nice 4th of July, and we got back on the road.
But you didn't do Nashville.
We didn't do Nashville.
You didn't go down Broadway and see the show that it was last Saturday night.
Yeah,
crazy.
Last night was a big night. We had
It
a
was
lot
like
of fun.
Vegas.
Nashville is Vegas. It's kind of a good, refined, cleaner, more into music, a lot more into music.
The quality of music, you can go into any bar that you find, stumble into anyone, and especially on Broadway, you find just everyone is so top tier.
Okay, what bar were we in last night? The Lucky Bastard?
We were in the Lucky Bastard.
The Lucky Bastard, and we saw this guy performing.
Yeah, he was
that
great.
Was off the hook.
Yeah. We went twice.
We went in the afternoon.
And
saw a great band.
Yeah, she was absolutely shredding on the fiddle.
Yes, great fiddle player. Jessica and I did a little swing dancing. I was teaching her how to swing dance.
That was awesome.
That was a fun little...
I forgot that you knew how to do that.
What, was a country music nerd in the 90s? Yes, I was.
Well, I don't take... when I think of music, you're not very good at singing.
No, terrible singer. In fact, I was always told I couldn't carry a tune if it had a handle.
Yeah, that is in fact true.
Yes.
And, I've never seen you play any instrument or sing or do what, but you can swing dance. You had the rhythm down. When they were playing and you were really leading the dance.
Yeah.
I haven't done a lot of dancing where, partner dancing. And you were freaking swinging me around.
Yeah, I kind of got a flashback that it was 1991, and I was at the great bar in San Jose called the Saddle Rack, which was an epic bar that started probably sometime, I don't know, the 50s. It'd been around forever. It was the largest country bar outside of Gillies, which I believe was in Dallas or Houston, I think. And they claimed that they were the largest country bar.
But that's where you learned to swing dance?
I learned to swing dance there.
With who?
Look I'm always talking to...
With who?
Oh, there was always someone to swing dance there with. I mean, the ladies were lined up. I mean, and you did really fun things at the Saddle Rack, like ride a mechanical bull, punch a mechanical punching bag to see how hard you could hit, get in the barber chair and get a shot of some kind of concoction.
Oh, that's like moonshine in San Diego, Moonshine Flats.
Pour down your throat as you were laying back, spinning, already with a good buzz on. after you had just been thrown off the mechanical bull.
Yeah, you were leaving there sore.
Yeah, well, no, because you didn't
leaving there
leave
drunk.
Yeah, you didn't leave there sober, and they always had a guy selling hot dogs right when you got out on a little street meat.
Some street meat,
Street
or
meat.
as we like to call it, schmeat.
Schmeat, street meat.
Schmeat.
They were selling street meat here in Nashville. Every corner of Broadway was a little street meat vendor.
Little schmeat. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think the girls did some partaking in that.
Damage on the
didn't
schmeat for sure.
Yeah,
No,
so
Nashville is so fun.
Last night,
It's Mom's first time.
it is
Mom's
her
first
time. Yeah, and we had a group of 20. So everywhere we went, it was a party. We started at Alan Jackson's bar.
Yeah.
Who were big fans of Alan Jackson. Saw him live at the Shoreline in Mountain View, probably 1992, 1993. And I believe Mom and I were in the second row. And I'm not exaggerating, but Alan flirted and winked at Mom the whole concert. And yeah, and then I think afterwards...
feeling some type of way? Were you feeling a little...
I felt a little insecure then. I mean, because if Mom had to choose right then between me and Alan Jackson, I think I would have lost that one. Alan Jackson was quite a man in his prime.
Yeah.
But we went to his bar, and there was this young girl, 22 years old, playing.
She was awesome.
And she was hitting the notes.
Yeah, you don't get a gig, you don't book a gig on Broadway unless you know what you're doing. I mean, every single band that we've seen play, we've seen 5 or 6 now, been here a couple of days. They're all so good. They're so good.
There's no junior bands playing here.
No, they don't have karaoke. You know, they don't let just anyone get up on that
karaoke.
stage. And it's fun too because when you're walking down Broadway, all the bands usually in a bar are in the back. But all the bands in Nashville on Broadway are in the front. So the first thing you see when you're walking past these bars are the drummer's ass crack.
Drummer's ass.
You know?
Yeah,
Like,
they're all in the front window.
They're on the front window. You get a good look at them, and you can hear they're pining for come in here and dance with us and sing with us.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, every single one was so good. I mean, Nashville, just for music lovers, is the spot to go.
This is Mecca. So what I know, so many other, big cities you go to, there might be live music here. It's sporadic. There might be a band, this place and 10 doors down another one. On Broadway, every establishment has a full band just going to town.
Yeah. This is where people come. If you're trying to be a musician, this is where you come and get your reps in.
Yeah. Come to Nashville.
So good. Yeah. We've had a blast.
So we've had a good time. It's our third and final night. We're going to go tackle it again because, we're in Nashville, so we're going to go hit the Hard Rock Cafe tonight. We're
going to make a couple stops before we hit the Hard Rock, too.
Okay, one more from last night. The guy that was singing, and usually, this is Nashville. It's based around country music. Always the joke here is they got 2 types of music, country and Western. So, but this guy last night, what song did he play after he was hopping onto the top of tables, going from table to table, jumping around like an uncaged chimpanzee?
He was agile.
He was he was good.
He was leaping into the crowd,
But what song was
too.
he singing? The Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Freebird.
Well, okay, Freebird was their last song, but before that, he did the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And he did it like you were in the front row of the Chili Peppers. He was crazy.
Yeah, he dropped in some Eminem.
He did a little Eminem.
They threw in all the country hits.
And then ended up
doing
with
Freebird.
one heck of a rendition of Freebird.
Mom looked like she was ascending above her body.
Yeah.
She was so, like, when the guy was just shredding on the guitar, she was
did a good job.
awestruck.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Yeah, he was awesome. That was when I think Mom was like, yeah, we're coming back to Nashville many times.
We haven't even left, and we're already coming back again. It's always a good sign. Whenever you travel and you go to a location, when you can't wait to leave, that's a bad sign. But when you're
like
already...
Las Vegas?
Like Las Vegas, yes. Usually, by my second night, I'm ready to leave Las Vegas.
You hate your life. You're like, get
You're
me
just
out
like,
of here.
when's the flight leaving? What day are we leaving? Let's get out of here. And Nashville is, when are we coming back? So I love that. So we learned a little bit about Nashville.
You learned a little bit about Nashville.
I learned a lot about Nashville.
I'm excited to learn.
You're going to learn. Nashville is the capital of Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
It's been the capital of Tennessee since 1804. It's been a long time. But Nashville has 680,000 people in it. It's the largest city in Tennessee. And the area around Nashville has about 2 million people. So it's a majority of the state's population of Tennessee resides around Nashville.
Fascinating.
The name, Nashville, started I got some notes here. See, the last 3 podcasts have been all off the cuff, and that's because so much history is partly in my mind, but this is new history.
Yeah.
So I'm learning. So a few of the...
Don't be ashamed. Pull your notes out.
No. So Nashville was founded in 1779. It was the final years of the American Revolution. And the word Nashville, it was originally Nashborough, right? So they named a lot of cities villes, boroughs, towns. So if you go just do a map, you see all those at the end of which usually is some kind of surname. So Nashborough, later changed to Nashville, was named for Brigadier General Nash, who died in 1777, was killed during the American Revolution at the Battle of Germantown. So he was this general that took one for Washington, took one for America.
Wait, what side was he fighting on?
What side was he fighting on? This isn't the
Confederacy?
Civil War.
No,
This is the Revolution.
Okay, wrong wars.
Wrong war.
Let me reset.
Yeah, okay. American Revolution.
What side was he fighting on?
He wasn't fighting for the king. He was fighting for
America.
The new United States.
Okay, got it.
So a lot of Nashes are throughout named different cities, but Nash is named after a general. So 1779, it was named the capital. It was named the capital in 1843, but long before
the gold
that,
rush.
It was 1843, close to the gold rush time. It was for the first European here were the French fur trappers. Those French.
Let me guess. Coming down from the north through Canada? Or coming up from the south through Louisiana?
Probably coming through the Cumberland Gap.
The south. Through
Now, they might have come down the Ohio and into the river system. The river system here is just fascinating. We'll get into rivers a little later.
We'll get into rivers.
But
wait.
If you were a furry creature on a river and you had to pick, do you want the English here, the Spanish, the Irish, anything? You do not want the French because you're getting your ass trapped. You are getting trapped if the French are here.
Yeah, they did some damage to the furry creatures of America.
Okay, so 1689, Jean-Claude or whatever his name is, some fur trapper. He first, and so he meets the indigenous people here, the Indians, and they were like Chickasaw. There was, I think, 3 different Indian nations that were here, and they traded furs and traded probably some booze and everything else they could, fit on their little donkey coming down or their riverboat. So 1779. So 1689. There was a fort built along the river, and it lasted about 40, 50 years, and then they abandoned it, and then they came back here, coming through the Cumberland Gap. So one of Francois something, he came in from North Carolina and started the settlement again.
Settled the area.
Been booming since then. There's some cool things here.
Do you like music?
Yes. Well, and that's a great lead into who was the first celebrity ever to perform in Nashville.
Let me guess. Davy Crockett.
You got it right on the nose. Davy
Wow.
Crockett. So Davy Crockett allegedly first played his fiddle here in 1834 for a crowd. He was killed 2 years later in 1836 at the Battle of the Alamo. So
was
first
he known
celebrity,
for being a musician?
He was known for
Just
doing
a passion,
everything.
Just a hobby of his?
He was Davy Crockett.
Well, okay, so you had mentioned that earlier. That's why I know that I won't cheat. I'll say.
Yeah.
But what's I don't know a lot about Mr. Crockett.
He explored. He took. He was an explorer, and he was
What's he
just
known for?
all over.
I mean, I know the name, but like, what's...
Well, he's most famous for dying at the Alamo.
Oh, why?
Well, because he was one of the famous guys that the Alamo was kind of the last stand of the war between...
Was that in Texas?
That was in Texas.
Yeah, against the Spanish or the Mexicans?
Against the country of Mexico, yeah.
Okay.
Texas was a big part of the Mexican-American War, as they called it.
Okay.
So Davy Crockett was the first... He was kind of like the first celeb.
Yeah.
He was the OG.
The OG musician.
The OG. Yeah, so Davy Crockett. So
I wish I could play the fiddle.
the fiddle
It's
is...
hard.
We've seen a lot of fiddle.
I love the fiddle.
What is the difference between a violin and a fiddle?
Funny you should ask. The fiddle, I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure. I think the fiddle is just a smaller version of the violin.
It's a little violin.
Yeah, and it's more of like a hearty instrument. Like, to me, violin is more orchestra, long, beautiful,
Played by an 11-year-old girl in the suburbs at a
Simon's
concert.
Elementary School.
Yeah, at a concert.
Yeah,
and a fiddle's playing by someone in a
It's
in
more
a honky-tonk.
Yeah, it's like a regional type of instrument too. Like, I feel like obviously the fiddle's attributed mostly to country music and whatnot, blues.
And they play at honky-tonks.
Yeah.
Now that's a good one. I did a little research on what a honky-tonk is, and man, the jury's out. I think there's been many discussions on what is a honky-tonk.
I don't know this.
Basically, a honky-tonk is a bar that plays music.
That's all?
And it seems, well, so it's a drinking establishment, but in order to be a honky-tonk, you have to have music. Now, what kind of music is honky-tonk? It seems to be coming back from about 1880s, 1885.
Honky-tonk's like bluegrass.
Started out, it was all the music of the South. There's references to Oklahoma. There's references to Arkansas. A lot of references in Texas.
Yeah.
And like the Fort Worth stockyards. So it kind of became, if you had a great bar and you were serving some nice cold beer and you had some crazy music, you were considered a honky-tonk.
God, we need to do like a museum or something, because this topic of music history and how it evolved, especially in America, and like from the Deep South and jazz music and how that turned into rock and roll as we kind of know it.
Well, all the listeners out there, what you have to watch is the story of country music. It's a 5 or 6 part series. It's a Ken Burns. Ken Burns.
Well, I want to do that here, and do they have we need to see if they have like a museum or something. We have one more day
Country
tomorrow.
Museum.
I know,
the
we need to go.
Music Hall of Fame's here.
I know. Let's skip the Hard Rock Cafe and let's go to...
Let's do that tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm fascinated with all that. That's super cool.
And you're a great musician. And as
I'm a
piano
average
player and a guitar player, a little bit of a guitar player, but as a really good drum player.
A loud drummer.
Yeah. You have a
knack.
Have a knack for picking it up.
I know. Watching all these bands, I'm like, what if?
What if?
But...
What if those drums, if the right person heard you?
Well, I mean, I think back when I played in like high school and played gigs and whatnot. And I don't know. I thought about it, but...
It's a hard life.
It's a hard life. You know, you don't make a lot of money.
No.
It's a lot of rehearsing. Hard. It's night after night, same songs after same songs. It's hard. It was hard for me to stay passionate about it. Like, it kind of almost got old in a weird way. So then I feel like that doesn't really make me suitable for a career in it. You know, if to me it kind of is feeling repetitive. But like learning new songs, I don't know. I love
being
music,
a musician
it's
a
hard go.
It's a great hobby, but a rough career.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to work really hard to make a little bit of money.
Yeah, it's a fun hobby. I'll keep it as a hobby for now.
Yeah. Well, we just went. We're gonna switch over to the river system, because the river system is just fascinating.
Fascinating.
And we saw that firsthand because we just went aboard the General Jackson Mississippi River showboat.
Weren't we on the Cumberland?
We were on the Cumberland River, but it looks like a Mississippi riverboat, which most...
it had the big, what do you call it in the back?
Paddle wheel.
It basically looked like the big Disneyland ship that you ride.
Yeah. It was a steam-driven paddle wheel, a steam-powered paddle wheel-driven. God, it was probably 300 feet long, 5 decks, four decks.
It It was
I think
awesome.
there was at least 500 people on board.
Yeah, we took the whole fam.
Took the whole fam. There was 11 of us on this little trip.
We got an awesome buffet.
Yeah, some good country, some good southern barbecue.
Many a different shade of beige soft foods. Mac and cheese, potatoes, pulled pork,
apple pie.
Little apple something. Yeah, no, it was good. So we were full.
And then watched a really, really good quality.
So good.
1 hour country music.
It was awesome.
Through 50 years of country music with, about Elvis and Hank Williams Sr. and Johnny Cash and all the names, Dolly Parton.
They consecutively hit. They started with some of the really old-timey musicians.
They started with Hank Williams Sr.
Yeah.
Kind of the start.
And they kind of played. They didn't play a full song, so it wasn't like you were waiting around a long time for this song to end. They played like a bridge and a chorus, or a verse and a chorus of each era of country music. They started with Hank Williams and they ended, with Martina McBride, and it was awesome. It was Dolly Parton. They played Devil Went Down to Georgia. The two girls that were there was one that was just a singer, one that was on the fiddle.
She was incredible.
She was so good.
This woman could play the fiddle. She was spinning around, just tearing it up, playing Devil Went Down to Georgia. And
it was so cute to look across the table and see Mima and John tapping along and smiling and singing.
Yeah,
so
that was right up their alley.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, my mother, Jessica's grandmother, a.k.a. Mima.
We've referred to her a lot as Mima, but her name is Kathy Earnshaw, Kathy Carol Earnshaw. And she will be on this podcast at some point.
We're going to get her on to tell some old stories.
Yeah, she's got a lot to say.
Okay, so we were on the Cumberland River in Nashville, Tennessee. The Cumberland River starts high in the Smoky Mountains, up almost at the border of Kentucky and Virginia, way up there. Runs through an enormous lake, Lake Cumberland. It goes through Cumberland Falls, and then it zigzags through meanders through Nashville, and it dumps into the Ohio River, not far from Paducah, Kentucky, and it dumps into the Ohio along with the Tennessee River. Also runs through Tennessee, dumps in the Ohio, and then you take the cruise down the Ohio, and they're at Cairo, famous for Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn. It dumps into the Mississippi River. So you see why the Mississippi River is so big, because all these rivers, the Missouri comes down, the Ohio comes down, pretty much from the Rockies east and the Appalachians west. All that water dumps out and flows through the Mississippi and comes out in New Orleans. So that's a lot of water. That's a big area.
Yeah. The book I read about the Donner Party, The Indifferent Stars Above, would highly recommend to anyone. It's about the Donner Party who started their journey at the Mississippi River.
Around St. Louis?
Yeah, St. Louis.
Jefferson City, I think, somewhere around there.
Waded through the grasslands, came up to the salt flats in Utah, and then they were supposed to go north over into kind of Idaho and the pass and Oregon, and then come down.
For the Oregon Trail.
They were supposed to stay on the Oregon Trail and come down into California from the north.
But they took a left instead of a right.
But there was a fella, I forget his name, but convinced them that, I got this great new route and just pay up now. And they pretty much got scammed from this guy into picking his new fast, quick route, which, human psychology, we're all the same. We always just want to get there faster and sooner and cheaper. And
especially when you're on a wagon train and you left like 4 months ago. I'd be really ready to get to San Francisco to a nice bar there.
And it was the worst decision they could have possibly made. It cost them a lot of lives.
Yeah.
And they had to come over. They basically trekked directly over the Sierra Nevadas with all their carriages and their ox and their children.
In the middle of winter.
Well, it wasn't the middle of winter yet, but they left super late. They didn't leave the Mississippi River until May or something. You're supposed to leave in February.
Yeah, I should have used that when you were always late as a little kid. I could have been like, hey, you want to be the Donner Party? You get stuck in the snow?
It's never late. Yeah, great book.
Yeah. So we saw the river today. We saw the Cumberland River cruising down on a paddled wheeled. I mean, it was like being at Disneyland. It was really the term that I've used with you and your sister for a long time, like seeing real Disneyland. Today was real Disneyland. We were really on that paddle wheel.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was awesome. The show was so good. The show was so good.
Great
the quality
show.
of music, you just can't go wrong within the entire city of Nashville. Like, you cannot go wrong.
No.
Yeah, I was super impressed.
Some other things that were really cool around here is they built, and they built it, I don't know, a long time ago, 40s, 50s, but it's a 2/3 scale of the Parthenon that is in Athens. That's the famous place with the big columns.
Okay,
the
is it the Parthenon or the Pantheon?
No, the Pantheon is in Rome. It's the Parthenon.
Oh,
It's the Parthenon. The Pantheon is a big building in Rome. The Parthenon is the famous Athens,
Columned
Greece
building.
with the columns. Yeah, and this is a 2/3 scale. So it's not as big, but I mean, it's 2/3, right? It's 66% of the size. However, the impressive part is that it is made to scale within like a quarter of an inch. So it's really the same dimensions.
Why did they build that in rural Tennessee?
I don't know.
Boredom.
Yeah, we'll have to fact check that one.
We'll have to get to the bottom of that one.
It was probably Vanderbilt because Vanderbilt seemed to donate. He's the one who started Vanderbilt University. Vanderbilt, he was a transportation, shipping, train mogul in the late half of the 1800s, late half of the 19th century, and he donated. How he started Vanderbilt University? He donated $1 million.
And back in the 1900s, that was like $1 billion.
That was just like in 1870 something. So, yeah, $1 million was probably worth a couple $100 million.
Jeez.
So he did that. Started Vanderbilt University, one of the first big universities of the South. They called it the Harvard of the South.
Oh, really?
They did.
I didn't know. They just won the NCAA in baseball a couple
Really?
years back. Yeah, they're good at baseball.
Baseball school.
Pretty sure they have a good basketball team.
Do they have a football team? Because I never hear about beating
I don't think so.
Vanderbilt in the
I
top
don't know.
20 or anything.
I wouldn't know.
So Nashville, also known for that. Also a cool place is called the Hermitage, and that's the home of our 11th president, Andrew Jackson. And
Mr.
gonna
$20 bill.
Yeah, and I think we need to go see that tomorrow.
Is it like a sprawling estate like Thomas Jefferson or
No.
George Washington, or is it
No,
just
he lived in like this little cabin.
Okay.
It was Tennessee.
Is it like a museum?
Yeah, it's like a living history.
So it's where he grew up. It's not
where he
like
grew up.
his adult estate.
No, his childhood home.
Okay.
So we need to go
That'd
check
be
that
cool.
out.
Yeah.
Tennessee is also home to Opryland. And Opryland, we were there today because that was the boat we went on was kind of part of the whole Opryland theme park and Opryland Hotel. Mm-hmm. And Opryland theme park went out of business because it just wasn't a booming roller coaster.
The people were on Broadway.
Yeah, the kids did not want to go to Opryland. I'm sure their average age of their visitor was probably somewhere in the 80s or 90s. And so Opryland went out and they built a big mall. That's a big mall we saw. So, classic.
And they had a beer garden.
Classic
they had a
America.
Chili's. They had a wax museum there.
A wax museum.
I've never been to a wax museum. I'd like to go.
They had all the chains, but they did have a beer garden that we didn't. I really think this is a good of the holiday, being on location in a different city, being able to drink a beer while we do the Pappy Hour.
Yeah.
Well, it really is Happy Hour.
Well, Pappy Hour, we haven't drank beer at all for the first 3 episodes. We were just kind of working out the kinks, kind of getting our flow.
We should maybe only drink beer when we're traveling and do Pappy Hour on location.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Out of the San
It
Diego.
depends what time of day we record. If we're in the afternoon, I feel like it's a nice chiller. But we were recording those in the morning, so none of us wanted to drink beer.
Yeah, we're really not morning drinkers.
No, except for when it's an Irish coffee on Thanksgiving, then sign me up.
Or if you're in Ireland.
Or if you're in Ireland, you just drink all day long.
You just start drinking. Get up in the morning, start drinking.
Yeah.
Opryland Hotel, fun fact
You
here.
keep calling it opera.
Opryland.
Opera.
Opry.
Yep.
It's named after the guy named Opry. It's maybe just easier to say opera, but let me tell you, there's no opera anywhere near to this city.
Not the vibe.
We'd have to really look hard to find the opera here in Nashville.
Yeah.
But the Opryland Hotel is the largest non-gaming hotel in the world.
What does that mean, non-gaming?
Well, not a casino. Because all the big hotels are casinos. So if you take out all the casino hotels, it's the largest hotel
That is the most random fact I think you've ever said.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I saw that. So, and we're gonna go check.
That's
that
worth
out.
a jot down in my notebook.
Yeah, that was worth a side note.
What else you got? What else did you jot down earlier while
I don't know. I mean,
while you were just chilling in the hotel room?
you know, the rivers, the geography was is really cool because it is a beautiful. It's you look out the window and I don't know if we can still see out there, but it's really flat. There's no can't see any mountains. We're pretty far away from the Appalachians.
It's a pretty time of year too. All the leaves are turning.
The leaves have turned.
Yeah. It wasn't as cold as I thought it was going to be though.
It's been nice out.
Yeah.
It's been real nice.
So tell me, we mentioned this before in some of the previous episodes that you were a Civil War reenactor.
Did a little Civil War reenacting, and
Tell
I did
me-
fight in a battle here in Tennessee.
Tell me a little bit about that battle.
That was the Battle of Shiloh. The Battle of Shiloh. And we were fighting the 125th anniversary.
Give me a year. How old were you?
Well, the Battle of Shiloh took place in 1862. So 125 years, it must have been 1987.
Calculating.
All right. Boom.
Calculating.
So 1987, I was a junior in high school. And because
Were
I
you
was
new
part
into
of
reenacting, or was this?
No, I've been reenacting a couple years.
Okay.
And since it was a historic, living history, I got to take a week off school. So when you get to take a week off school,
Especially
you're especially the guy who wasn't much of a Rhodes Scholar, gets to take a week off school and go to the South for a reenactment. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. It was your Super Bowl.
It was. So we're going to wrap up this episode with this story.
Well, let's see. What are we at? We're at about 30 minutes in, so we can keep
we got
talking.
plenty of time. We got
Yeah.
plenty of time. Okay.
No rush.
So we
Nowhere to be.
we took off from San Jose, California, and we flew into Atlanta, Georgia. Rented cars. Here I was a junior in high school.
With who?
Our whole our whole
You all traveled
unit.
together?
Yeah, the whole reenactment unit. And we joined about 10,000 reenactors. I want to say there was about 10,000. It wasn't
That's a
quite
lot of people.
the scale of Gettysburg, which took place the following year in 1988. But it was April, so it was still kind of cold, and I never had done really cold reenacting. And one of the days we were out marching. I think it was a 2 or 3 day reenactment, and I remember one morning we were marching out and it started to snow, and I got a pair of wool pants on, a light cotton undershirt, and a wool jacket, and that's it. And I just remember the snow coming in, thinking, "Man, it's cold. It is cold." And,
All right, I want to hear sequentially how this happened. So you fly into Atlanta. Where's Shiloh?
Shiloh's in southern Tennessee, right on the Mississippi border.
Okay, so
We drove.
that's only Georgia and Tennessee are right next to each other. They
we had
share a border.
No, we had a drive through Georgia, we had a drive through Alabama, and then into Mississippi, and then came up from. I think we spent the night in Corinth, Mississippi, and then
Camping?
and no, at a hotel, motel.
But you were with.
I say hotel. We never stayed at hotels. I mean, that was like it was like
So you were
these guys
just
would
with.
barely pay for a motel.
But you were with all these older guys. Like, were you the youngest one there?
There was a couple younger guys, but most of the guys were, all the old veterans, so they were just a hoot to hang out with.
Were you drinking?
And I had, no, they kept us under. I mean, I was 17, so they would.
A couple of beers.
There'd be a couple of beers here and there.
Okay.
But we were at this antique store, and one of the other young kids decided that he was going to buy this old porcelain jug. You know, like in the cartoons, how you see a jug with the XXX on it?
Yeah.
Like an old whiskey jug. And so he bought this jug, and I asked him, you going to clean it out? He's like, nah, we're just going to put whiskey in it. Or he was putting hard cider in. So cider.
To travel with or just to drink out of?
To drink.
Okay.
Yeah. And so he filled it up with hard cider, and I didn't care for hard cider, so I didn't partake in that. If I was going to partake, I liked it.
It's going to be a Coors Light.
Like the Coors Light. Or
Always have.
anything.
Always will.
So these couple other kids, the whole trip, they were drinking this hard cider. They bought like a gallon of it, right? And filled up this jug and passing the jug around, just drinking this hard cider. And they finally finished it off. and there was something floating around in the bottom of it, and I think he had thought there maybe was something in the bottom, but they thought it was a cork that had been pressed in. So they just put their cider in, didn't bother, and they finally got done with the cider, and they drank all the cider, and they now heard this thing floating around there, and they tipped it upside down, and they pulled out a dead mouse. So
oh my God.
These guys had been drinking dead mouse juice for 3 days, and this little mouse, and I just smiled so big thinking, I'm so glad I didn't drink that. A dead mouse.
That is sick.
Because this thing was in an antique shop, right? And the mouse climbed in there.
A mouse is 100 years old.
Yeah. Well, he was.
How big was the mouse? They didn't notice it while they were drinking.
No, it was just floating around in the bottle. But they did notice it when the bottle was empty, and then they pulled
These
it
are
out,
the guys that you were hanging out with. Dead mouse juice. Here.
It wasn't the first team All-Americans there.
Oh my God, that's pretty good.
So my other really good story from Shiloh.
Wait, so that was on your way there, or that was while you were camped out there?
They had bought it on the way there, and then they drank it all the way. And this was, I think, when we were leaving and having to fly back, and had to make sure it was empty so they could pack it.
Okay, so tell me now about
the reenactment.
Getting there and all that.
So one thing about reenacting is, especially when you go to a big battle with there's 10,000 reenactors, is no reenactor wants to die. Because once you fake like you're dead, then you're out of the battle. Your battle is ended, and you got to go.
Does someone cart you off?
It.
Or do you just have to lay there?
Just lay there in the field.
What if you're tired and you need a nap?
Well, I know, and a lot of the older guys, they would if it was, especially if it was hot, they'd take a hit early.
Yeah.
And the young guys would keep going because it was a way to get a little nap in.
Get a little rest.
Just lay down in the weeds and take a little nap.
Yeah.
You're dead. So, we were in the battle, and this was my first one of our first experiments using a blood pack. So we had made this is before you could go look this up online. So we had met someone that was a Hollywood like stunt guy, and he told us, okay, this is what you mix up.
A blood specialist.
Yeah, so you take a plastic bag, you mix this up, and put it inside the pocket of your jacket, and then when you're ready to, you hit it hard. It opens up the plastic bag, and you got a blood pack. And
so it doesn't explode. You have to hit it.
Yeah, we weren't that. I mean, we weren't. This wasn't Hollywood, right? This was reenacting.
This wasn't Kill Bill.
This is reenacting 101. So we make some blood packs up, and this battle is going on, and we're maybe an hour into it, but no one's dying. So finally, I'm like, you know what? I got to use this blood pack. I got to take a hit.
I got to die.
Yeah. So I take a hit, do my cartwheel backwards and extend.
Cartwheel?
Yeah, just throw the rifle up and like you're, getting taken out. I was always a little theatrical about it.
Yeah.
And so I engaged the blood pack, and it's a lot because I'd never really done it before.
You're gushing.
Yeah, I maybe needed one like a quarter of the size, and so my whole shirt is just sopping wet.
You shouldn't even be walking.
Yeah,
you're losing that much blood.
I'm looking to my right, and there's a crowd like in lawn chairs and sitting down, and it just goes on for like a quarter of a mile down this field that all these
they're in lawn
spectators.
chairs?
Yeah, they're spectators watching this battle. So I thought, okay, well,
how many of them are there?
There's thousands, just thousands, probably 10,000 people lined up there. So I make my way to the side in front of them, and I never looked or acknowledged them. I just looked like I was all disheveled and severely bleeding from the chest area.
You should be dead 3 times over with how much blood you're gushing.
Yeah, I'm limp, and I got mud all over my face. And
you're forlorn.
All of a sudden, this young nurse comes up, and I kind of think maybe she thought I was really injured because there was a lot of blood, and I kind of just under my breath said, I got a blood pack, and just roll with it, right? So she
be cool.
I put an arm around her, and I'm walking. One with my left hand, I've got my rifle, and I'm walking back, and with my right hand is around this nurse, and she's walking me, and we walk.
But she's in costume?
And she's in costume, yeah. She's a
in
Civil
character.
War. She's in character. She's a Civil War nurse. And we proceed to walk back like this quarter mile, right maybe 10 feet in front of this crowd, And all I hear, now this is before any digital, right? So when people took a picture then in 1987, you heard a click because they were regular cameras. There was nothing digital. And I just heard click, click, click for 15 minutes while I just walked on by there, and I never looked at the crowd, and I just had this look like I was about ready to die. Blood, all this soaked bloody shirt, and this nurse, crying, bringing me back. So
she was crying?
I thought, yeah, she was acting it up. We were like, this was
like your
a movie
role.
scene. Yeah, this was
the role of your life.
Yeah. So usually when you take a hit, you guys got to go lay in a field. No one cares.
Yeah.
I was John Wayne right here. I mean,
this was 15 minutes of fame.
This was fame. So
literally 15 minutes.
I was 17 years old, and I bet I was in 10,000 photo albums of someone that went to this battle. And
if there's anyone out there who took a
listening
photograph, who was at the Battle of Shiloh and took a photograph of a wounded soldier,
yep. Then
please email us at pappyhour@gmail.com. pappyhourpod@gmail.com. Link in our bio.
Yeah. So that was.
We need one of those photos.
And then the funny part was I went so far because I wasn't just going to stop in this crowd because I kept seeing in the distance more crowd. And again, this is my 15 minutes.
This is your Super Bowl.
I kept walking. I walked all the way until it ended. And so now I was lost from my unit. So it took me a few hours.
I walked so far away from them.
I got a wet, bloody shirt. Now a bloody wool jacket. I got so much of that Hollywood blood on me. So now I had to put myself back together. I think I actually took off the undershirt.
Does that ruin your jacket?
It might have been pink for a little while. Rolled up my shirt, stuffed it in my haversack, which is what you put your lunch in.
Pardon? A haversack?
A haversack, yes. You had your canteen and your haversack. And canteen, obviously, you put water in. And your haversack, you pretty much put everything else in. An apple, a carrot, beef jerky.
A carrot? What are you, a horse?
Well, I mean...
An apple, a carrot?
Yeah, something to eat.
One single carrot.
Yeah. You'd put your pipe in there, your tobacco. The guys carried everything they had in something called a haversack.
A photo of your loved one.
Yeah, you would have had to have been a rich officer to have a photo in those days.
Mm.
I was just a poor foot soldier.
Yep, a humble man.
I finally found my unit and told them all about this great story and how I, took this.
You're like,
one for the team and
you should have seen me.
Yeah. And then I think I don't really recall this, but I want to say one of those pictures got to a newspaper. One of either the Corinth
we could find
newspaper or something. Well, we could because we know it was in the beginning of April. The Battle of Shiloh took place April.
And do you know the newspaper?
5th and 6th. I think the biggest city was Corinth, Mississippi. So if we researched it from Corinth, Mississippi,
we'll get our producer Tristan on that ASAP.
April 5th, 1987. Maybe I was in that paper.
Well, we could find that.
But, being a reenactor...
pull it up in 3 seconds.
Being a reenactor, there wasn't a lot of fame. I mean, it was grungy, setting up a tent, sleeping on
it was just fun camping.
What was camping, but you didn't have any of the fun stuff.
It was like real camping. Like camping nowadays, you bring your phone and you bring your charger and you bring your tent.
Yeah.
This is like true human camping.
We were authentic. We had no, what you called something then that wasn't authentic, like a bottle of Coors Light was FARB, F-A-R-B. So you couldn't have anything FARB.
Haversack, FARB. I'm learning a lot of words today.
I even had at Summit, the tailor make me some long johns so I could have authentic underwear. It's like cotton.
Because your undies were FARB?
Well, yeah, because you couldn't buy Civil War undies.
Hanes.
And I think for the record, I'm not sure if a lot of Civil War guys wore underwear.
Oh, so, just wool?
Just wool, scratching it up.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had your FARB.
That was your
FARB undies.
No, I had real undies. I was dialed in. I didn't bring anything that wasn't.
What did you drink Coors Light out of?
Well,
your canteen?
We would get a barrel and put the beer in a barrel and then bring the barrel and then you would just turn the spigot on and you would get kind of flat beer out of there.
Just mouth straight on the spigot?
No, it wasn't a fraternity party. I think like the captain would have kicked me in the butt if I was mouth on the spigot. It wasn't a cake.
There were some rules. It wasn't a complete free for all.
Well, there was a lot of rules.
Yeah.
It was very strict. It was.
No, it's like
going back in time.
That's I was just gonna say. It's like going back in time and also experiencing history at the same time, but also camping and getting outdoors.
And that's what made me the historian I am. I mean, I soaked up history as a sponge, starting at 15 years old. You know?
Yeah,
Me and Mom set me out on this. She signed me up and off I went.
You didn't get a say?
Yeah.
Wait, you didn't ask for this? She told you about it and then was like, "You're going?"
Well,
she asked you?
Asked me if I wanted to go, and I thought it sounded like a pretty good idea. I mean, first of all, it was a weekend away from my parents. So
yes, I'm in. I don't know what it is, but I'm in.
Yeah, and it was a rough start at 15. I was a freshman in high school. It was September of
It's kind of like going to camp, but like a much more hardcore version of that.
Yeah, it was like going to camp, but someone did get to yell at you, but you did get to shoot a rifle.
Yeah,
So
your
that's
kind of
kinda cool.
camp.
Yeah, you got to hear a lot of. I mean, I always like to blow stuff up. Lighting off firecrackers. From a young age, I was attracted to firecrackers. I used to wash the guy's car across the street, growing up on Jeremy Drive. His name was Gareth, and he was of Hawaiian descent, so he was the in for fireworks. He would drive up to San Francisco and buy bricks of firecrackers, and then I'd wash his car, and he'd pay me in firecrackers. So at like 9 years old, I was washing a car, and he'd give me like 2 packs of firecrackers.
And you were like, sweet! This is what I was going to buy anyway if you gave me money.
Another pack if I waxed it. And then I'd get these packs of firecrackers, undo them, and there were 16 firecrackers in each pack of firecrackers. Well, when you're in high school, you just lit them off by the pack. But at 9 or 10, every firecracker counted. And then my buddy...
and what would you do with said firecrackers, Dad?
Then we would set up army men, and any toys we had, we would bring outside, and we'd make a battle, and then we would bury the firecrackers underneath. So we literally had a real life action, and then you'd go around lighting the firecrackers, and they would.
All your men would pew.
Yeah, it was so.
You were primed for Civil War reenacting from a young age.
So
thanks, Gareth. Shout out to Gareth.
Wherever he is. So reenacting was like this natural
progression of
liking the likeness to blow stuff up.
Yeah.
I like to blow stuff up. It was really a lot.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think I put a couple firecrackers or two in like a Barbie doll. My friend, good friend Tot, and I. She would fill the Barbies' heads with ketchup.
And then you put the firecracker
and put the firecracker in, and that bitch would blow.
Yeah, Barbie was gone.
Barbie was gone.
Barbie was gone. Yeah, I think my buddy Chipper and I blew up every G.I. Joe we ever found or had, and there was just firecrackers were just such a great invention.
Yeah.
You know, I think fireworks were the Chinese greatest invention.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the iPhone or any...
They didn't invent the iPhone.
Well, they made the iPhone, so... But of all Chinese inventions, I think fireworks could be the greatest invention.
Yeah, hard to argue.
Hard to argue.
So, back to the Battle of Shiloh.
Battle of Shiloh.
Did they have explosions in there? Or was it just fake?
No, they would just launch the artillery, which was pretty impressive when the artillery would go off.
But blanks.
Yeah, I didn't get any explosions going off like a mine until the Battle of Gettysburg. And the Battle of Gettysburg...
I think we're going to get to that next episode.
Yeah, they put charges in the ground, and it was cool.
Wow.
Let's get back to Nashville.
Where are we going to go tonight?
Tonight, I think we're going to the Hard Rock Cafe, which is kind of weird going to the Hard Rock when you're in Nashville, because usually you go to the Hard Rock if you're in San Diego or LA. It's rock music.
Well, we went to the Hard Rock when we were in Rome.
We went to the Hard Rock in Rome
because we had been going around
Dublin,
Italy for a couple of weeks, and if you know anything about our family, we love burgers. So we were craving a burger after having pasta and whatnot for a couple of weeks. That was one of the best burgers I've ever had.
Yeah.
I remember going to the Hard Rock.
Yeah, Hard Rock's around the world, they're always known for a good beer and a good burger, good French fries. But here, the Hard Rock, this is country music. So going to the Hard Rock.
It fits the vibe.
I don't know.
Well,
We'll
today's
see.
also Sunday. So
Sunday.
things are a lot more low key. I'd be interested to walk down Broadway and see how the vibe is and who's playing and whatnot.
Yeah.
But we'll catch some good music.
I think after we wrap up this show, we're going to go take a walk on Broadway.
I think I'm going to have another beer after this show.
And go take a look at things.
Yeah. But I think that's a good episode. And I'm glad that we touched on our time here in Nashville. We had a great time.
The great state of Tennessee.
It was my mom's first time. It really was your first time coming here and seeing the culture of Nashville. You kind of stopped through before, but...
People are nice here.
Oh, people are so nice.
Yeah.
The food's really good, nice. And just the music and the party atmosphere is great. If you are, acting a fool in these clubs or in these bars... your ass is out.
Yeah.
They have no tolerance for any of that stuff. So they run a tight ship here in Nashville. It's clean. Everyone's nice. And could not recommend more. We've loved our time here.
It's not Vegas.
It's not Las Vegas.
Yeah, it's not Vegas. And what we had noticed here is the extremely large amount of female gatherings. I swear. Every woman's bachelorette party, 40th birthday, divorce party, 50th birthday, you name it, but there's 5 in a group, there's 7 in a group, there's 9 in a group, there's 27 in a group.
They travel in flocks.
And everybody gets on these trucks that you dance on and drink on, and then they drive hot laps around Broadway.
I will admit I have been on a truck like that. Yeah, we came here for my 2 best friends' 25th birthday party.
25th. Not even a 21st, a 25th.
25th, quarter of a century, worth celebrating. We came here and we got one of those. I think it was called the Honky-Tonk Express.
Yeah.
I was a hit. I was dancing my butt off and everyone was taking their phones out and filming me. And, I'm not quite sure what I looked like dancing, but I thought I looked great.
We're both celebrities in our young age, and maybe our
photos will resurface one day.
Yeah. Mine will be a little different than yours, but
oh my gosh, no, it's so fun.
Just
Nashville's
the music. We've had a great time. Great music. Just
good memes
of how many places of choice you could just you walk one bar to the next.
You could hit every one, and it's all the same type of vibe. Like you can't go wrong.
Yeah,
you cannot.
And
go
it's
wrong.
not too expensive. It's not Vegas pricing where a beer now is, a cocktail's $24.
No, if you're coming from California, this is like...
It's a little bit of a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's all right. We really like Nashville. We're going to come back to Nashville. Thank you, Nashville.
Love you, Nashville.
I'm actually going to be here for another week because I'm heading from here up to Louisville, Kentucky to see an old friend of mine up there. And then we're going to hang out in Louisville for a couple days. Then we're going to come back to Nashville. We're going to go to a Nashville Predators game on Saturday. We're going to...
Yeah, what are you and Mom going to? Do you have to dress fancy for?
We're going to attend the Patriot Awards on Thursday night at the Grand Old Opry.
Grand Old Opera.
The Grand Old Opera. The Grand Old Opry. And the Patriot Awards are going to give tribute to police, fire, military, right up our angle that we've been working on for a long time. So shout out to that, the Patriot Awards.
So fun.
Yeah, that's something different. Something you wouldn't just like, hey, let's fly across the country and go to the Patriot Awards.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it's that'll be something cool.
Cool.
So we can shout out to our favorite charities, Tunnel to Towers.
Yeah.
T2T. If you got any extra cash, extra jingle, great charity, doing great things for veterans. Or any veteran organization. We got a few that we are going to plug. But
Happy Veterans Day.
Veterans Day was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a parade here in Nashville. We did not get to see that parade. We were at a prayer commitment of the 21st birthday we were here to attend. But they had a great parade here. And happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. And thanks for listening.
Episode
4 in the can of
the books.
Pappy Hour.
Enjoy.
Take care, all.
Cheers.